Apologize
Back into
everybody
the streets.
for some reason the stream just turned off on its own. I'm not sure what happened there, but again, I do apologize for that. And we were just kind of in the middle of the conversation, everybody, about the All Star break and what could bring excitement to it. So Pete, why don't you go ahead and kind of replay your points, and then we'll continue going.
For sure. Yeah, no. I can actually reformat what I was saying a little bit. This is not a bad thing for me. Um, I really like what I enjoyed the most, I felt like was, we have a lot of these players in the news right now for lots of things that kind of take away from the actual game and like the respect I think that a lot of the older players had for basketball as
Mm-hmm.
just as a
Right.
sport and an entity, right? Like Ben Simmons of the world, James Hardens of the world, even like dudes on teams doing just foolish things like on the court, right? Like I feel like there's kind of an uptick, it seems like, in that, but I think
Mm-hmm.
more so than anything, it is the way that the league is carried in the media, right?
Yeah.
So it was nice to have a good reminder that like this is really what the players really do truly have respect for what they're doing, right? And I think for each other and the people who came before them and built the league up, and I think that this weekend was a nice reminder of that in this
Yeah.
kind of weird, chaotic league. Like because I forget to mention even dudes like Kyrie, right? Like we have just this weird year of those are the big stories, right? None of the big stories are really very good things about players. I don't feel
Mm-hmm.
like.
Yeah.
Um, but it's all the drama, and that's kind of what it seems like the average fan is looking for. But I do enjoy that side of the league more, to be honest with you. Like I
Yeah.
like the camaraderie that the older players have with each other. Seeing LeBron and Michael Jordan, have that long
Yeah.
embrace, right? And like that is basketball to me. That's what it is. That's why
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it. That's why those players mean so much to me growing up, and they still do to this day, right? So I think that was definitely a big win for the
Yeah.
league this weekend. The events themselves stunk, though. Like they
Yeah.
stunk. I thought the 3-point contest was okay. Like it is what it is, right? It is
Yeah.
just literally dudes taking 3-point shots.
Right. Right. Right.
That was interesting, right? It was fine. Um, it was nice to see Cat win, right? I thought that was kind of cool. Like, there was all this talk of him being the best shooting big man ever, and he goes out there and gets the W. I thought that was cool, right? Besides that, dunk contest, I'm sorry. I'm a Knicks fan, Knicks Brotherhood. I love you out there. That was sad. That was a sorry win. Obi, you tried your best. You got the
Yeah.
W. It's one of the weakest wins, maybe ever of all time. It probably is, to be fair. It was bad. The All-Star game was okay, too, especially the last, like, 5 minutes of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with
But
you, Pete.
I think that's every offseason. I think that's every All-Star game, though.
Yeah, they need to find a way to. I think the only thing that I would say is they need to find a way to reinvent the wheel when it comes to the All Star game. I mean, it just in all sports, it just does not seem to have that same kind of allure and lust that it once did back, in the '90s and early 2000s. And that honestly might just be us being old heads, or I guess
No,
older,
it doesn't. It doesn't. It
with
doesn't
some
feel
with
the
some
same as it
stuff.
used to.
But I do agree with you with the fact that like the dunk contest was probably the worst dunk contest I think I've ever seen before. I was really disappointed in the effort and really the lack of creativity from all those guys. I liked Obi's last dunk attempt because I think that was really good, but I just think that there was too many props. I think Cole Anthony kind of ruined the show a little bit in that, and the fact that he was just taking his sweet time, putting his Tims on, then talking to his dad, like trying to get the crowd hyped
It was
into it,
weak. It was
and
weak.
and it
It
was
was a
just
bad look.
and it was like, Cole Anthony, and I think he said on Twitter too, he'll never enter the dunk contest again. And hey, man, I just think that it just was not a good look for the NBA from a dunk contest perspective. But everything else, I think, was good. The celebrity game, obviously, no one really watches that one. I think that they could do something to that. I don't know what they could do, but they need to
Just don't do it.
maybe just not
That'd
even
be my
do it and
take.
not maybe not make it so corporate. I feel like it's corporate when it comes to like the All Star game for the celebrities.
What here? Let me give you. Can I reinvent not only the celebrity game but also
Yeah,
the All Star game? All right. Here's my idea. Right? Why not the whole weekend? The All Star game is now a 3v3 tournament, right? Where the top voted players each are team captains,
yeah.
right? All the five starters, right? And then you do the little draft thing like normal, but all
Hmm.
the players get to pick their two teammates, right? And anybody, let's say that they could even add additional all stars to this, which helps them, right? You get
Right.
to make more all stars. But then anybody who gets voted an all-star but doesn't get drafted, let's say whatever, I don't even know what the numbers would have to be to make this work. But let's
Right.
say there's 10 players who are all-star voted but don't make it into the thing. I don't think these guys would like what I'm about to say, but what if they do like some sort of alternate little like tournament too where they get to play with a celebrity, right?
Yeah.
Like a two-man team where you pair up like a almost all-star and a celebrity against another team like that.
Yeah. I
I
got
think
you.
that'd be more interesting. Like
Yeah.
little tournament, at least for the All-Star game. Like even get rid
Yeah.
of the celebrity one, right? I honestly stick with my first suggestion. Just get rid of the celebrity game. Nobody cares what those like
Yeah.
they're doing those weird little tournament video. Like doesn't Jack Harlow do like a celebrity kind of tournament
Yeah. I
on
think so.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, let him do that. Maybe even partner with him and where that's like a separate thing. That's
Mm-hmm.
more interesting, right? I
Yeah.
don't even watch that, and I guarantee it's more interesting, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Um, but the All Star game at the very least, I think they just need to be done with the one 4-quarter traditional game. Those dudes already play enough 4-quarter traditional games. They don't want to do it, right?
Yeah.
That's why they don't play the first 3 quarters like it's a real game. You know, it's like they're all just chucking up threes. So, which I guess is kind of, there would be other older heads who would say that is what the NBA is, but it's really not. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
not that bad, right?
Yeah.
Make a
Exactly.
tournament out of it. I think they would have more fun with that, where they play to like 10, and then once you get to the finals and the semifinals, maybe they play to 21.
Exactly. And speaking of tournaments, that's a great segue, Pete. Sorry to cut you off and make you a segue, but the All Star game, we can kind of get back to it at the end of the stream. But I really wanted to talk about this in season tournament that seems to be gaining more rumors and more push as the years have gone on by. Adam Silver says the NBA is moving closer to adding in the in season tournament. We obviously know that this would mean that there would be less games of the regular season, and bringing in this tournament, just like the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup for my Premier League guys out there, it'd be kind of something like that where it would just be in season. I'm not sure what they would do as like the winner of the tournament, what they get. Maybe hopefully they can entice teams to actually want to do it. But kind of going to that, Pete, and then back to you again on this. What do you make of the in-season tournament? Are you a fan, or
What
do
it,
you think that they should just get not even entertain the idea of that?
huh. I am a fan of it, to be honest with you, like from a fan
Mm-hmm.
perspective, right? Like it's more basketball. It
Right.
has, if they can make it where the stakes matter, right? And
Yeah.
here, let me give you one hypothetical. This is the win, right?
Okay.
What if they give you, for winning the in-season tournament, you get one free tampering?
One free tampering.
You get one free get out of tampering jail free card, and you can tamper with one player as much as you want. What if they did that? Dude, how many teams would go out for that? It would go so hard for that award. Oh my gosh, I think I
Yeah.
just solved their problems, right? Then everybody who wants to be tampering, who's going to be tampering behind closed doors because they're going to be like the runner-up teams that lost, right? So now you have like a stinging effect where you see who's going to do it, and then the one person gets out of jail free. I
Yeah.
think that's a good idea. However, I don't think they should do it for the mere fact that you don't want to put too much wear and tear on these guys,
Yeah.
especially in the middle of the season, right? Like this is when most dudes start to coast for a
Yeah.
reason, right? The season's super long. And realistically, like I think you need to, in my personal life, I'll let you guys in on something. Like I am an avid believer of pick and choose your battles, right? Like there's certain times you might have to agree to do something you don't want to do, but is the battle worth doing, right? Like you just got to choose the lesser of two evils. And I think like at a
Mm-hmm.
certain extent, the players are asking for so much right now, rightfully so. They are the business. You have to make your concession somewhere, right? And this is one of those things where it's like, do we really need the midseason tournament? I don't think we need it. So why are we going to force the issue on this thing?
Yeah.
That's what I would say. There's bigger fish to fry, like in terms of keeping these guys happy, like
Yeah.
as a collective group. Let's not make a new issue. Then we're going to have to
Mm-hmm.
deal. Look at what the MLB is going through right now. Like, that's a real deal. And the NBA is so much more valuable than the MLB is right now. So if there is an issue with some sort of, union, some union
Yeah.
issue that comes up, get, make less problems, I guess, is
Yeah.
my final thing.
Yeah, and I just want to acknowledge some of the chat that's been going on. Tar Heel
Yeah,
Nation, what is up? Seeing Jordan embrace LeBron made me disgusted. We'll probably talk about that a
that's
little bit
just
later.
ridiculous.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. Sean, what is the charge stance on Putin? We're in a wait and see approach here at the charge. Wait and see.
I I can safely say he's probably not the best dude.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Definitely not the best dude. That guy, we got a lot to talk about. Or we don't really talk about that stuff, but there is a lot to
Yeah.
say about him. But the AllStar game was super lit. Braun did it for Cleveland.
He
This is
really
for
did.
you. Anyway, back to the NBA season tournament. Again, I think Adam Silver said it best in this quote that he talked about here. The tournaments and other sports along the way where players, I'm sure, feel an extra sense of boost of competitiveness around the winning a particular trophy, and that's where we're looking at. It's complicated. So I think like what they're trying to look at is like, how can we make the NBA a little bit more competitive? Because everyone likes competition, right? You want to prove that you're the best. You want to show that you know what you're doing. You want to show that like you're the best ran organization. And we'll talk about GMs getting shoutouts by LeBron a little bit later in this podcast or stream, I should say. I think the biggest thing for me is that as much as I would love an NBA in-season tournament, I think like you said, Pete, like the wear and tear on these guys' bodies is just too much. Like you're already making them play 82 games as it is. I think there should be a reduction to that. And now you're going to add an extra, let's say it's like, I don't know how you qualify for this tournament, but if every team is in it, there's a lot of games to be played if that's the case. And so I'm not necessarily a big fan of that. I think that they should find a way to like really, I don't know what the right word is, but they need to find a way to lessen the games and
Yeah, it's a
also not,
compromise.
yeah,
Like that's what they
compromise.
need.
They need a compromise because it is frustrating if I'm a fan or honestly if I'm a player and then Adam Silver said, "Hey, you got to play this game now." Like it's just
Mhm.
not it's just not what I would want as a player, and I'm sure the coaches don't want that either. Like nobody in the league wants this besides the owners and the commissioner who works with the owners.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, this is one of those things where, alternatively to what I said, which is compromising by just not having it, you could solve two birds with one stone. What if they got rid of like 15 games off the schedule and said this is like a 10 game equivalent tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they could have the award be something huge. What if it's a guaranteed spot in the playoffs? So if you go really hard, right, the whole
Yeah.
way through this tournament, you make it in. Or they can lessen the award by just a little bit, but have it be close, where it's like that's one of the play-in teams. You guarantee
I was
at the
gonna say,
least
I was
get
gonna
a
say that.
play-in spot. Like that would
What
be
do you think about that?
interesting.
What do you,
I would be very
I
I would be very interested to see what teams did for that. Like how that improved the trade deadline as far as how many deals get done, right?
yeah
If you're coming into this tournament with that level of award, you could be a dog water team and
yeah.
technically say, dude, screw this. We want to be good. We want to go to the playoffs right now. We have this kid that's, how good is he? Let's go figure it out, right? We're going to make a trade for a big guy
Mm-hmm.
in this tournament and go for it. That would be fascinating.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm kind of at is like if you were able to get like if we look at the NBA standings currently and we'll take a look. Um, I can spell it today. If we look at like the East and Western, like the Orlando Magic, the Pistons, the Pacers, the Knicks, a little bit in there as well. You got the Rockets, Thunder, Kings, Pelicans. Like if any of those teams, like let's say the Rockets for example, because we're huge, I would say advocates of the Rockets with their young core and what they're trying to build towards. Like I think it would be fun to see like Jalen Green and the rest. I mean, not in the dunk contest, but the rest of the Houston Rockets to like go into the play-in game and like be able to go against like a LeBron James's team or the Clippers or even the Timberwolves who are making a good push right now in the league. But it'd be fun to see like the Rockets get into there and play one of these teams and see what they can do. See if they can make a magical run into like the first round series and maybe make an upset that way. I think there's a lot of benefits to that. The only issue that I have with it is that they need to find a way to reduce games while also adding this tournament, and I just don't think that there's going to be a compromise to that from the owners. I think the owners, just like the MLB owners, want the 100 and what how many games do they play in the MLB? 162.
62, yeah.
Yeah, so they play 162 games there. The NBA owners don't want to get rid of the 82 games because that's time for the owners to get money from season tickets or ticket revenue, league pass, in commissions and concessions, uh, jersey merchandise. Like they don't want to get rid of that opportunity, and so that is where it's kind of like where the owner's going to bend and break for that, and where the player's going to bend and break for it. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, and realistically, you'd have interesting scenarios. I mean, where teams like, say, the Lakers, right? They saw that playoff end game entry spot and said, "Screw it, dude. We're going all in. LeBron is going to play 40, however many minutes he's going to play a game.
Yeah,
Right? He's going to play every single second. And then we're going to win it, and he's going to sit out the second half of the season, right? I don't think the Lakers, or I don't think the NBA would appreciate that, which is maybe
yeah,
where you'd have some contention on the issue, but that would be an incentive for
yeah,
teams, right? Older, veteran-heavy teams say,
mm-hmm.
we're going to win this tournament, and then it's 2 play-in games. We're not worried about those games. Those teams are bottom barrel teams, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. That'd be a fascinating approach because then think about it. You give LeBron half a season rest going into the play-in games. There's nobody stopping him. Nobody.
yeah,
So I mean, we saw it the whole bubble tournament. So I don't know. I'm also a purist. Like I think why wouldn't we just keep it the way it is? It
mm-hmm.
is only getting better as the years go on.
Exactly.
Why would we fix something if it's not broken, right? The league
Mm-hmm.
has only gotten better since we've been alive watching it. So I
Yeah,
don't know if we need a tournament. I would honestly, despite all our great ideas that we've come up with here, Bernie, I really think it's better off the way it is. No
yeah,
tournament, maybe shorten a few games, and I don't know. I would consider getting rid of most of All-Star Weekend minus the All-Star Game or whatever they
mm-hmm.
substitute.
Yeah,
Just give it as like here's like a week break in the middle of the season. Everybody go clear your heads, get some time away. Like nobody enjoys those events as much as the production that gets put on, right?
exactly.
So I don't know, make everybody happy and us all like a week to not watch basketball and they don't have to go play games and do events they don't
Mm-hmm.
want to do.
Yeah. And let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of that? Are you guys a fan of the in-season tournament, or do you think that the NBA should stay the way that it is? Next topic we got to talk about, Pete, is of course LeBron James. LeBron James is in the news not because he hit the big shot, is because of what was said earlier in the All-Star break.
Said a
LeBron's
lot.
it is. LeBron wants to play with Bronny. We've known this for months. We've known this for years. He wants to play with his son on an NBA team, and basically said, "Hey, whatever team gets Bronny is going to get me." And so, if you're an NBA team, one of these bottom feeder teams, looking into the next, not next year, but the year after, um, if you're a team looking at like, hey, we could get LeBron James if we draft Bronny, are you gonna be willing to pull the trigger on that, Pete, and get Bronny on your team to get LeBron James there?
All right, so there's 2 caveats, right? Like
Okay.
the first being who's the real top end talent in that draft, right?
Yeah,
Are
I
we
think it's
talking are we talking Anthony Bennett's draft, right? Because then guess what? I don't care if it's 42-year-old LeBron, 41-year-old, whatever. I'm taking him, right? The only reason I wouldn't take him is if there is a player that is just generational, right? Like if
yeah.
this is a draft with Kevin Durant or Luka Doncic, right? Like and you can go back. We were screaming from the mountaintops that Luka should have been the number 1 pick that draft, right? Like he
Yeah.
should have been. Obviously, we all know that now, right? That's the type of player I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would have to say, all right, I'm going to take this guy over Bronny, right?
Yeah.
The difference here is that most drafts don't have that guy, right? And I, as let's say I'm the owner of a team and I have the power to make this choice, I'm doing this 10 times out of 10. The mere fact of the culture that you're going to be building potentially, right? If you do it the right way, right? Because
Yeah.
LeBron is probably going to be at a point in his career, dependent upon what team gets Bronny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's probably not going to be a good team, right? Because
Yeah.
he's probably going to go in the top of the draft. And if that's the case, LeBron is going to have a lot of power going into the situation. Like they're not going to be good enough. But let's say by some miraculous situation, he goes to a good team and it's just LeBron now entering this established team that got a high draft pick, right? That's even more reason for me to do it, right? Like I want that culture that comes with having a veteran like that because I personally think that LeBron
Hmm.
going to a good team would understand at that point in his career, he's still going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Like he still is, right? But I
Hmm.
do think he would understand that he's going there for Bronny. He's not going to go
Hmm.
there and dominate the team like he's done when it's about him,
Yeah.
right? It isn't about him. It's about his son now. Do you think he's going to trade every first round pick they have for 15 years because he's there? No, he doesn't want Bronny to be on a terrible team, right? So big braining the plan. I'm taking him because then
Yeah.
I can keep LeBron in the building after he's retired. I want that. If I'm an owner, if I'm a GM, I want Bronny to be, or I want LeBron to be there as like this, the father of the team, right?
Yeah.
Like be this veteran presence for the team before and after. We've seen how that impacts certain winning teams, and I think
Yeah.
like we have no idea what that's going to mean for a guy like LeBron entering like
Hmm.
the first few seasons after he's done playing. That'd be incredible for a good to mid-range team to have that.
Yeah. And I just kind of want to read the quote. He said, "My last year we played with my son." James said, "Wherever Bronny's at, that's where I'll be. I would do whatever it takes to play for my with my son for 1 year. It's not about the money at this point." And I also want to look at the NBA 2024 draft class because this is where Bronny will be at more than likely, unless they change the high school rule, which I doubt at this point. But according to this mock draft, he's projected to be a 26 overall pick in the first round. Like I have him. If I was to do a real mock draft, I'd probably have him, probably from the probably the 14 to 20 something range. So somewhere in there is where I probably would have Bronny at this point because I need to see a little bit more from his senior year, and not all players are fully developed at this point anyway, right? We're talking about players.
Are you accounting? Sorry to interrupt you. Are you accounting having LeBron in that package while you rank him 14 to 26? Right? Because like it could change your actual ranking of him as a player. He's not. It's kind of the first time ever
I
like
would
that.
I wouldn't have I'm not having LeBron in my rankings. I would more say that this is like a situation where like if you're an NBA team, like especially the 26 range where they have him here
Mhm.
currently, like it's probably going to be a team that's really good and just has an extra draft pick. So this could be a situation where Bronny goes to a championship winning organization. Whatever team is like good that year, we still it's years away, so we have no idea how NBA teams are going to operate or what they're going to look like in the next couple years. But
Or
like
even
having
if Bronny's going to be good, for that
yeah,
matter.
exactly. You never know about Bron. I mean, he's still only a junior in high school. He has so many years to grow and develop and become a player that maybe he's not done growing his potential yet. So this is one of these situations where um I think like it would be a good thing to like, especially if Bronny is rated here. Why not take a chance on and Bronny and just get LeBron with you on your team? I mean, again, you're not getting the prime LeBron James you once had back in the 2012s or 2007. Like you're not getting that LeBron James, but you're getting a LeBron James that's a smart player that may not be playing a lot of minutes at this point in his career, but will definitely be a player that could produce really good things whether on the court or maybe off the bench as kind of like that role, that kind of like six man type of role that maybe especially as an older player, maybe that's what he'll play. Again, he spends so much money on his body. He's playing incredibly well so far. I don't ever see him kind of going down that rabbit hole of not being a starter, but I think that you could definitely, let's say for example, it is I'm trying to think, maybe it's the Bucks. The Bucks get the 26th overall pick. They get LeBron and Giannis playing together on a team. That might be
Hmm.
an unstoppable duo. And if you can get Bronny, who currently is more of a 3-point shooter, kind of like an off-ball guard that can knock down some shots, you get him knocking down some shots as a role player for your team, or get some of these other guys that they have on their team. We don't know where Middleton will be as well. Like Andrew Holiday, for that matter, who's also aging as well as we speak. Like it could be a potential good matchup for them, but I think that if you're an NBA team, why not do it? It's nothing but good news if you have him on your team.
All right, so I'm gonna push back just a slight bit and just say that I personally would rank Bronny higher for the mere fact that if you're assuredly gonna get LeBron James as well on probably what amounts to with a player like LeBron, like a vet minimum, he's not gonna get a vet minimum
Yeah.
probably even then, but it's gonna be like Sean said in the chat, it's going to be a good contract most likely, right?
Hmm.
I would honestly, if I'm a team, say you're a decent team and you manage to get a pick in like I don't know, say you're somewhere between even 6 and 12 in a bad draft, right? Or like an average draftee. I would even say average, like this last year's draft. There's a chance I probably would have drafted him over a couple of those guys at like 10, 11, and 12. The mere fact that if you get Bronny, and LeBron, you're not just getting the two of them. You're getting Clutch now as well, right? Clutch
Ooh,
has your back
clutch.
too. There, that's
The
you're
clutch
getting
army.
all those guys, right? You're getting the Clutch army at that point, right? Like, would I be surprised if you saw crazy free agents start signing at that team that season just because LeBron is now there and he's asking them to come play with him and his son? Of course not. Like, I think that's legitimately going to happen wherever he gets drafted. So, in my
Hmm.
opinion, I'm taking LeBron. There's like, let's say it's not it's the deepest draft of all time, and they have like 7 guys where you might take them number one in another draft.
Uh-huh.
Sure, right? I'm going to use my seventh pick on that guy. That is not any draft, right? Most of the seventh round picks you get are guys like, no offense, because now he's balling out, but like Josh Giddey, right? Everybody flamed the Thunder the draft making that pick, right?
Yeah.
That's mostly what you get, though, right? And most of the time, they're not Josh Giddey. Most of the time, they sit on the bench most of the season. Most of the time, their last year Phoenix Suns taking Jalen Smith at 10, right?
Hmm.
Who has already been traded and then I think cut from that team, right? Like, I'm spending a 10 overall pick, even if the guy is maybe a bottom of the first round draft pick,
Right.
potential. I'm taking that pick. I'm taking
Yeah.
him.
Really quick, Sean says Bronny's going to Gonzaga. I am also LeBron's kid, so you get me as well in the package. I mean, it's a whole clutch army. You get Savannah, you get Gloria,
Get Tar Heel Nation.
you
You
get
get
Tar.
his anger.
Yeah, you got a lot of different things. And again, this is just kind of a small topic to just kind of continue the conversation about LeBron and Bronny. So let us know in the comment section down below, what do you guys make of LeBron and Bronny potentially going to the same team in the next couple of years?